So get down there for 12 o'clock's bounce down. So you want to get down a little bit earlier than that. I reckon the boys are going to be raring to go for this one. And it's going to be a cracking game. So
the more people we can get there, cheer the boys home, and let's get a flag.
Now, Brucey, there is another huge grand final coming up, isn't there?
Push all these other ones to the side. There's only
nothing else
matters. There's only one grand final that matters.
There's one grand final on Saturday we need to worry about, and that's on at 12:30. This is the Ellenbrook Netball Association. It's the under-15s netball. It's Ellenbrook 7 versus Averley 11. So the one of the shooters for the team is unabashed. It's my daughter Hannah, so she'll be playing in her first grand final. The girls won through to their grand final on the weekend. So all the girls are just a little bit overawed on the whole situation. There's about 35 nervous parents all around the place who have decided they're going to turn the place into a sea of Ellenbrook on the weekend down there at Swan View. So,
And where's that game?
It's down at Swan View, which is the Swan View netball courts, which is, if you know where the Speed Dome is in Midland there, just near the Reed Highway there, Roe Highway, sorry.
Yeah. So, Brucey, we've been to a fair few footy games together. Yeah. What do you like as a parent watching netball?
I'm actually the quiet one. I sort of stand up one end and I basically go... Hannah plays GA or GS. So, Well, they do have very, very strict rules about, you're not allowed to inform the umpire of their anything. So you've just basically...
Their inability or anything like that.
Yeah, no, you just basically... Oh, look, they're all volunteer umpires, so they're learning their craft as well as the girls who are on the court, so they do a great job, and, But no, I'm the nervous, quiet parent, and the girls have had an up and down year. I'd say the difference between their best and their worst is quite large. I will say that, but when they do all put it together, they can play some very good netball. So very confident, actually.
Good work.
So,
well, Hannah, make sure you come home with a win, or otherwise don't come home.
Yeah. there will be problems.
Yeah, that's it. Especially after all the gambling bets and stuff like that we've got on the side.
all the little side bets. Yeah.
That's it. No, good work. And,
a little bit tongue in cheek, but no, it's a fantastic achievement for any side to make a grand final.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
We did put a sound out to the Ellenbrook Netball. I believe they do have a lot of other teams that will be playing grand finals this weekend. So once again, Ellenbrook Netball, get in touch with us and we'll get it out there. Get it out to get it out on our Facebook page, and coming up next year.
Yeah, that's it. And look, if there's any sport that we've glossed over or we've missed, or anything that we've said that you don't believe is correct, other than obviously our opinions about certain things, that's too bad. But look, if there's any sport that we have missed or you would like us to touch on, especially coming up to the off season where cricket is obviously going to dominate a lot of our conversation, we would really appreciate you guys get in touch with us and just let us know, because
upcoming events.
That's it. We've got speedway, we've got motocross. I've heard cycling's a sport these days. There's plenty of stuff that's happening. Unfortunately, we can't be across absolutely everything, so we really need your help to get in touch with us, and that's obviously via the Facebook page or via Twitter. Just give us that Twitter handle again, mate.
At the Sheds 885 on Twitter, so jump on, look us up. But as Albie said, we're by no means perfect. We're a long way from perfect, so feel free to get in touch and let us know that we're all a bunch of Neville Nuffies, and sort us out, put us straight.
All right, no worries. So we spoke about Ellenbrook United a bit earlier. So that they've got
a home game this weekend at the Ellenbrook Sports Hub, taking on the top of the table Wembley Downs. So any time that we've got a team playing at home. It's a good chance if you don't like to travel too far, because we all know living in this region, if you want to go anywhere, you've got to travel a bit. So if you get a home game, then it's a great opportunity to get down, support the local team. playing against Wembley Downs, who are a quality organisation as well. So I'm sure they'll put on a bit of a show, and hopefully we can prevent them from scoring too many against us.
Yeah, well, and look, for people that haven't been to a local game before, you'd be surprised at, one, the skill level. There's some people that are just naturally freaks at all sports and play amazing, and just the atmosphere itself. It is local sport is amazing, and I can't promote it enough. Really, that's why we're here. The three of us that love our local sport, and we really want to push it, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that do love their local sport as well. We're going to listen to one of our promos, and when we come back, we've got another segment which Donnie's come up with, and it's quite a cracking one I like. It's called the Blowtorch, so we're going to put the Blowtorch on something that's upset us during the week.
What you hear on community radio is governed by the Community Radio Codes of Practice. The Codes of Practice cover matters relating to program content, including local content, news, current affairs, Australian music content, programs for children, and the responsibilities associated with broadcasting to the community. They also cover aspects of the community access and the participation in the operation of this service. Copies of the code are available from the Community Broadcasting Association website, which is www.cbaa.org.au.
All right, and we're back. You're listening to Albie, Brucey and Donnie, and we are in the sheds and VCA 88.5, where the valley comes alive. You can get in touch with VCA 88.5 FM on 9297 1088, or on the Facebook page, which is Radio VCA 88.5 FM. Now, I said before we went just to listen to that brief promo that we have a new segment that's called the Blowtorch, and
they're all new segments, aren't they, mate?
Well, they're all new segments, yeah, that's it. Well, they're it's new to us because we've been talking about this for a few weeks, so we kind of just keep making stuff up as we go, which for people that know me, that's how I do all my things.
Ultra professional.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Planning, dedicated.
So, Donnie, do you want to just explain briefly what is the Blowtorch and what can people expect in the coming weeks of what we're putting a Blowtorch on?
Blowtorches, we're just applying the heat to an organisation or a sporting team, or an event, something that's happened that's got us or got the general public a little bit fired up. There's been a couple of massive ones. I actually changed the second Blowtorch item to a different national team. We sort of swapped national teams, and originally I was going to fire up at the Australian cricket team, but with Dave Warner getting back-to-back centuries and Peter Hanscom sort of going down with heat stroke.
We still did lose to the Bangers, but...
Well, that was basically the crux of why I was going to fire up and get up them, but they seem to have had a real crack in the second test.
At least they're getting paid all right now, aren't they? So
Nathan Lyon getting 7 wickets. It didn't quite feel right getting stuck into them, so we've changed to the other national team that's disgraced us during the week, and that's the Socceroos. So,
yeah, well, they've still got a chance, though, don't they?
They do, but...
When you're relying on other teams' results, that's like, it worked for West Coast this year, but most of the time, as soon as you go, right, we need to rely on this team to beat this team, and you're doing the mental mathematics for your ladder positions, you're like, nah.
Well, yeah, that's sort of what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, last night we beat Thailand. We actually got a win, but because of goals difference and Saudi Arabia beating Japan overnight, it means that we're not going to directly qualify. So now, for the Socceroos to qualify, they've got a couple of other qualifiers against some of the other Asian teams that they've got to beat. So basically a playoff type situation that they put themselves in, and then if they win through that, then they go on and they play 2 games against Syria. Now, hopefully those games aren't going to be played in Syria, but.
We've got our qualification process has just become
a lot
harder, and I think 8 years ago we went through a very similar qualification period, but it still does come back to that keep your destiny in your own hands. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that have fought really hard to allow the Socceroos, the Australian soccer team, to qualify for the World Cup through Asia, by just being the best team in Asia, and that has always been seen as a bit of a soft way of qualifying, really. The quality of the opposition through Asia is not as good as it is through Europe. So we should have qualified easily. We should always qualify pretty easily through that region. And
well, you look at the might of what we put out on the field last night. You know, how many of those players would be playing EPL?
yeah, that's it.
2, 3? And how many in the Thailand team would have been... And don't get me wrong, take nothing away from Thailand. They defended fantastically. Delaney let 2 through. I think they had nearly 35 shots on goal.
I think it was even. I think it was closer to 40. Yeah, there was
So
a lot of shots on goal.
whether that comes down to luck, you could probably say that for maybe a certain amount, but to hold them out to only 2 goals throughout the entire game, that is just...
Execution was pretty atrocious. Yeah, I'm not even annoyed about the Thailand game. It was more the game before.
Japan,
Like we held our destiny in our own hands against Japan. All we had to do was go out there,
Play
beat
a draw.
Japan. You know, even
Play a draw,
but
park the bus.
That was the issue though. They went out there and they played for the draw. They played conservative footy. They kept it back. They tried to play for a 0-0 draw. And when you go out there with that sort of mentality.
Yeah, and the other team, they have nothing to lose. So, you're playing defensive, and you see it in every sport. The defensive game only works for so long, and eventually the floodgates will open, and you'll get scored against. And we see that in every sport, AFL,
Fremantle.
rugby. Yeah, Fremantle's a perfect example. Actually, let's not just blame Fremantle. Let's blame Ross Lyon in general. But, but at St Kilda, the defensive game it worked. It got him to the grand final, and granted that one game it was a very unlucky bounce, but in Fremantle, it's just defensive sport. It does go all right, and if you get it working, it's going to work. But eventually, people are going to score against you, and we've seen that with everything. The faster pace over the top is always going to win.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's a lot of sport is all upstairs, and when you go out onto the field, you've got to be playing to win.
Well, against Japan, Moy didn't play.
No, he was crook.
Was he crook or...
He ate some dodgy sushi and...
Because he was head and shoulders above everybody on the pitch last night.
Yeah.
He was absolutely everywhere. He was... And I'm thinking, why wouldn't he play against Japan?
It must have been a pretty serious bug for him to not put him on the field at all.
Well, people are going to start saying now is, with what we've got, how we didn't beat them by more. What more could have Ange done to get that victory? And as I said, to be honest, I don't know.
Thailand.
Cahill?
Yeah.
Is he our future?
Well, probably not, but I suppose the argument is in that game where they had to win and had to put on a margin.
Oh, he's
Is
easily our
he in the
greatest
best
goal
11?
scorer.
And
Yeah.
even at
Well, that's
50
it.
years
And
of
he's-
age.
and I guess that is disappointing that we do kind of I find that with our soccer team, with the Socceroos, we do seem to rely heavily on a couple of guys to do the hard work, and then like you said, the rest is kind of what you guys have got your role. You're going to be defensive. You're going to basically open it up so that the likes of Cahill can come through and score. And he's a great player. There's no doubt about that. But time's getting on, and I just don't see who is going to step up to replace him at the moment.
Yeah, sort of relying on, again, we're getting to the stage where we're relying on that one player, that Moy, who's a
Massimo Malongo
out-and-out
and
superstar.
the other ones.
Yeah. But, to be fair, Thailand, as you said, they basically did the soccer equivalent of flooding. I think they were had 7 back in defence. So
They still got one past us. And that was...
yeah, well,
Jeez, you could have heard a pin drop when that went in.
Oh.
They were just...
well, you thought it was all over at that point. So luckily they were able to scramble another one and at least get 3 points and give themselves some hope of qualifying still. But you certainly want to turn the heat up on the Socceroos and see a better performance from them going forward. Ange Postecoglou, what's your thoughts? Does he hold his job, or do they get rid of him?
No, I think if they don't make it, there's going to be a lot of pressure and there's going to be a lot of media.
He's already said he's going, isn't he? If they don't make the...
Oh, yeah, but Buckley said that as well if he didn't make the final. So I don't really believe much of what coaches have to say these days.
Yeah, it'd be a very difficult position for him to fulfil because he's basically only gets to see these guys how often? He'd see them on tape and stuff like that, but he gets to have these guys. They come into camp, like they go on a 1 week break. or something like that, the EPL shuts down, so for a week or something like that, when all the players